Right now on Denver 7 News at 7 o'clock on Local 3, Colorado leaders are proposing more solutions today to end our fentanyl crisis.
These pills, literally you take one and you have no idea what you're taking.
He definitely had a whole life ahead of him.
We are hearing from more heartbroken families who have lost precious loved ones to laced drugs.
President Biden is getting a progress report on the administration's effort to restock shelves with baby formula. The relief Colorado parents could see soon. Plus,
empty net, score!
Yeah, the crowd goes wild on the final of 14 total goals. The Avs finally take the first game of the Western Conference Finals. It was not an easy victory, but it was a shootout. And it will be an exciting series to watch. Good morning, I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Jessica Crawford. Katie LaSalle has their first look at your Denver 7 forecast.
Hi, good morning, you guys. It is a very wet start to our Wednesday, especially across the eastern plains at this hour. Some widespread rain, a good soaking for the plains of Colorado and here in Denver. But right now we are seeing some heavier rain moving through Fort Morgan, the I-76 corridor. Mostly cloudy skies with some light shower activity still near Arvada, up through Thornton and Centennial. A rain-snow mix into the foothills, and snow has been accumulating over higher terrain into the mountains. Temperatures outside are very cool. It's upper 30s downtown, Centennial, low 40s, Commerce City and Thornton, up into Boulder and into the mountains below freezing near Bailey and over Berthoud Pass. So here's a look at our Front Range Futurecast. We'll be under a mostly cloudy sky by 9 o'clock. Most of the shower activity should have moved east, and then later on this afternoon, right around 2 o'clock, we'll be in the upper 50s to low 60s. Partly cloudy skies, more sunshine into the high country, so we'll clear out quickly and much drier conditions expected tomorrow. Jason.
Yeah, right now it is just a wet, sloppy drive in a lot of places. Up in the high country, you do have the snow, mostly in the grass and the trees, as you can see here at Genesee or down along 285 at the Park and Ride. This is over in Idaho Springs. This is over in Golden, where you can see just even a little bit lower in elevation. There's no snow in the grass. Just again, wet roadways. Take a look at the other quad split where you can see the other road conditions. Denver Tech Center, I-76 up by Hudson. This is over on Highway 36, right at the overlook. So it's starting to dry out here going to Boulder, and you can see how wet it is over on I-70 in Central Park. A lot of splashback for us. We had somebody in their semi-truck just drive over here to the side of the highway here on 278 York, so it is causing some looky-loo traffic by the tune of about 15 minutes, so double the commute time on the eastbound compared to the westbound side. Typical traffic up here to the north side of town, I-76, I-76th Avenue. One crash over there on that west side at 8th and Kipling.
Well, for months now, we've been telling you about initiatives to end the fentanyl crisis. Hundreds of Coloradans died last year from drugs they did not know were mixed with fentanyl. Governor Polis has signed a bill into law adding harsher penalties for dealers and creating more options for prevention and treatment. Denver 7's Colette Bordelon joins us live this morning, though, because today we'll hear from Colorado State Patrol about what they're doing to keep the drugs off our streets.
That announcement coming in just a couple of hours this morning, Brian, and those behind it are saying it's going to be a major update when it comes to a seizure or seizures of this deadly synthetic opioid. But meanwhile, countless Colorado families are still living with the impact of this crisis. One of them we spoke with is preparing to bury their 15-year-old child. Now, loved ones say on May 14th, 15-year-old Josiah Velasquez took a blue pill laced with fentanyl and never regained consciousness. He was on life support for a week at Children's Hospital. Now, the teen's family is raising awareness about the dangers of these counterfeit pills.
These pills, literally you take one and you have no idea what you're taking, and that's it. You don't get a second chance.
I feel like he tried doing this to fit in, and that's one thing I want to get across to other people is don't feel that you have to try something just to fit in, because at the end of the day, you are who you are, and he was a very good person.
Now, anyone with any information about Velasquez's death is asked to call Arvada Police. The family is screen printing t-shirts and candles with messages warning about the dangers of these counterfeit pills that can be laced with fentanyl. Any money raised from those purchases will go to funeral expenses. There's also a GoFundMe. You can find that link on thedenverchannel.com right now. Now, that announcement that's coming up here at 10 this morning, we will be there. Once we have those details, we'll get them to you as quickly as we can. Live in Denver, Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
Thank you, Colette. The conversation on fentanyl doesn't stop either. Tomorrow, Denver Mayor Michael Hancock and Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser will begin a two-day conference about fentanyl. The mayor talked about the program with us on our sister station, Local 3.
Everybody wants to talk about how we can best handle this crisis because people are dying on our streets today, and we've got to act quickly. This is a public health crisis. We also have to prepare law enforcement to address it, but we got to do everything we can through law enforcement to get these drugs and the drug dealers off our streets.
The summit will have both regional and statewide law enforcement looking at how to best fight the crisis.
A Fort Collins police officer is under arrest for violating a protection order. Valerie Pedraza was already charged with third-degree assault and domestic violence. Deputies say she kept trying to contact the victim. Pedraza is on administrative leave from the department pending the results of an internal investigation. A correctional officer is recovering this morning after an inmate stabbed him. 17-year-old Juan Asagueda is an inmate at Platte Valley Youth Services in Greeley. Officials say that he was having a dental procedure in Lakeside when he stabbed the officer with a knife and ran away. A surveillance image captured the inmate lunging at the officer with the knife raised. The teen was captured after an hours-long search, hiding in the garage of an unoccupied home.
The grieving continues in Uvalde, Texas today, where families are now holding funeral services for the first of 21 students and teachers killed in last week's school shooting. ABC's Justin Finch updates us on the investigation into law enforcement's response.
At Uvalde's Sacred Heart Catholic Church, a final farewell for 10-year-old Amerie Jo Garza.
A part of Uvalde and her is just gone from my heart. It just feels horrible.
Garza and 10-year-old Maite Rodriguez both laid to rest Tuesday. Father Eduardo Morales is presiding over at least 12 funerals for victims of the Robb Elementary shootings.
Although I have celebrated many funeral masses, this certainly is, the situation is different. It's as if one huge funeral that is not ending.
Funeral after funeral as new details emerge in the tragic timeline that's brought Uvalde to its knees. The Texas Department of Public Safety confirming a Robb Elementary teacher re-entering the building after seeing the suspect crash his truck before the shooting and call 911. Her lawyer telling the San Antonio Express News she saw the armed suspect, went back inside the school and closed the door, adding she thought the door would lock because that door is always supposed to be locked. This, as state officials say, Uvalde Schools Police Chief Pete Arredondo is no longer cooperating with its investigators after his initial interview. Law enforcement sources say Uvalde Police and Uvalde Schools Police are also not complying, but the state later released a statement saying both agencies have been cooperating. Several law enforcement sources tell ABC News Arredondo's refusal comes after the Texas DPS director called Uvalde's police delayed response the wrong decision. Arredondo reportedly ordered tactical teams to not go into a classroom, wrongly believing there was a barricaded subject, not an active shooter. The victims' families are saying they don't want their lost loved ones to be forgotten. As they mourn, Congress is reviewing gun reform measures as all eyes are on ongoing bipartisan Senate talks focused on advancing gun safety legislation. Justin Finch, ABC News, Washington.
President Biden will meet with baby formula manufacturers today to talk about the progress they're making to restock our store shelves. Denver 7's Christian Lopez joins us this morning with some good news, or better news, that Colorado parents could find some formula soon.
Some relief for parents this morning. We are learning that Colorado has received shipments of this formula this week. The state is stepping up to help these families who have been scrambling to find it all across the country and here in Colorado. Hospitals in Colorado received shipments of it after the federal government increased production and approved shipping it from abroad. The Colorado State Health Department has launched a resource page for families as well, and parents can use this to find up-to-date information on where to find the formula and how to donate or find milk. Last week, Governor Polis declared the shortage a disaster emergency, and he also approved the use of emergency funds to support free distribution of donor breast milk to parents across the state. And we do have a link to the state's resource page on our website. Just go to thedenverchannel.com. Live in Denver this morning, I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
Christian, thank you. Well, Avs fans are breathing a sigh of relief this morning. The Western Conference Finals are off to a thrilling start. For the second time in less than a week, the Avs watched a comfortable lead slip away, but they held on against the Oilers. The final score was 8-6, 14 goals just in game one.
We would prefer to not have an 8-6 game. We're up 7-3. We got to find a way just to get the momentum back a little bit as they push, but that's playoff hockey. There's so many momentum swings.
Game 2 is tomorrow night at 6 back at Ball Arena. It's still unclear if goalie Darcy Kemper can play. The team is monitoring his upper body injury.
Well, despite our hot housing market and high prices right now, Colorado is still a top search on Zillow. The 2 metro neighborhoods ranked among the most popular in the country.
I'm John Matarese. Is Home Depot really having a big clearance sale, or could it all be a scam? A warning before you shop online. Coming up.